Our next speaker today is Dominic Archibald. Dominic heads up global demand generation at LinkedIn. His professional passion is to pioneer new solutions to traditional problems, thereby changing how the world works and ultimately making a difference in people's lives. This dream led Dominic to LinkedIn. Prior to LinkedIn, Dominic spent several years in consulting, learning how to identify, structure, and capture business opportunities with a focus on sales strategy and effectiveness in technology. Please welcome Dominic Archibald.
Hello everyone, my name is Dominic Archibald, and I lead demand generation for LinkedIn Sales Solutions. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity today to take you behind the scenes at LinkedIn and reveal how our own sales reps use LinkedIn to sell every day. What you're about to see are the actual training materials that we use to teach social selling strategies to new LinkedIn sales reps. I should note that these strategies were born in our LinkedIn sales development team, proving that a social selling methodology can flourish in a high-volume customer acquisition environment as much as they do in an enterprise sales model geared for senior-level relationship building. In order to set the scene, I think it's important to provide a bit of color about our sales philosophy at LinkedIn. This philosophy is built upon three key lessons that we've learned about today's B2B buyer. First, a study from the Corporate Executive Board tells us that buyers are 5 times more likely to take a meeting when engaged through a warm introduction compared to cold outreach. This should be no surprise. We all prefer to do business through people we trust. The challenge is that it's hard for most sales reps to count on introductions as their primary way of doing business. They're just too few and far between. Second, according to the IDC, 75% of buyers are doing research on vendors through social media before making any B2B purchase decision. The best example of this is to think about the last time you planned a vacation. For many of us, we want to know what other people recommend in their travels. And our first step is to look for reviews and commentary on a site like TripAdvisor. Similarly, today's B2B buyer is much more informed about the seller than ever before. Finally, 90% of decision makers say that they will not respond to cold outreach. I don't know about all of you, but I ignore about 10 cold emails a week and would never answer a call from a stranger trying to sell me something. The scary thought for most sales leaders is this: if my sales team is relying on the cold call or cold emails to reach people, doesn't that mean that 90% of the audience is off limits? At LinkedIn, we believe that social selling provides an opportunity to capitalize on these lessons about today's B2B buyer. We define social selling with 4 ideas. First, effective social sellers create a professional brand that instills trust with clients. Second, social sellers realize that they need to network to more than one person to reach a deal. Gone are the days of hunting for that one all-powerful decision maker. In fact, the Corporate Executive Board states that on average, there are 5.4 decision makers involved in any B2B purchase, and we as the sales rep need to be able to reach all of them. Third, social sellers engage with their clients with insights. It's becoming harder and harder to reach a deal simply by asking lots of questions. Reps are now expected to contribute value to their clients, which requires that they first know something about the person and the company they are dealing with. Social media and social selling provides a powerful way to gain these insights. Finally, social sellers know that the easiest path to a deal is through relationships, and LinkedIn provides a rep with huge visibility into all the relationships that his company can muster to reach an account. So what does all this mean for sales performance? Well, it turns out that these 4 social selling capabilities are highly correlated with sales success. You see, we can measure and quantify the social selling activity of any person in the world based on the actions that he or she takes on LinkedIn. So we know how well every sales rep on LinkedIn is performing on the 4 dimensions of social selling. And then the question becomes, do social sellers outperform their peers? Well, we answered this in 2 ways. First, we surveyed thousands of sales reps and asked them questions like, how well are they performing on quota? When we compared this survey data against their social selling performance on LinkedIn, we found that salespeople who actively sell on LinkedIn are over 50% more likely than their peers to beat quota. Second, we wanted to know whether social selling activity translates to long-term sales career success. So we looked at every sales professional on LinkedIn and evaluated how quickly they have been promoted in their careers, as indicated by their LinkedIn profile. It turns out that sales professionals who are highly engaged on LinkedIn dramatically outpace their peers in their careers, including getting promoted to VP 17 months faster. So with the table set for the remainder of our time together, I'd like to show you the playbook that we use to teach our own LinkedIn sales reps to sell using LinkedIn. First, I'll share how a rep can establish herself as a trusted expert through her LinkedIn profile. Second, I'll show you how a rep can use LinkedIn to quickly find the right people and best relationships to sell through, with a mixture of active and passive hunting tactics. Third, I'll talk about how to turn these relationships into deals at high volume. This turns warm introductions into a rep's primary source of business. Finally, we've developed a methodology to reach out to new prospects in a warm, personal way, even when there's no magic relationship to sell through. This approach is based on how the right and left sides of the brain process information, so we call it right side, left side outreach. Before we jump in, I'd like to point out that the approach we're about to share is built on top of our flagship product for sales professionals, Sales Navigator, but many of these tactics apply to free LinkedIn as well. Building an expert brand is the first skill set that we teach to new LinkedIn reps. Our goal here, simply put, is to establish the rep as a trusted expert in his space. Remember, our buyers are now taking the time to learn about us before they ever begin a sales conversation, and this includes getting smart about us as salespeople. When we teach this to our reps, we practice 5 ideas. First, while it sounds obvious, having a high-quality LinkedIn photo is the single most important part of the profile in terms of getting people to read and engage. Second, your tagline, which is the line of text right under your name, should be action-oriented and not just provide your title. You want this tagline to be interesting and inspiring so that people want to learn more about you. The next section to take advantage of is your summary, which is the free-form text under your photo. This summary section is your opportunity to tell your story and to help other people, especially prospects and clients, to get to know you as a person. Next, I highly recommend taking advantage of rich media like videos to make your profile more interactive and to more deeply engage visitors. And then finally, throughout your profile, you as the rep or as a sales leader should take every opportunity to educate the potential buyers who might be visiting your profile about your company, your thought leadership, and how you can create value. Next, we'll talk about finding and engaging the right contacts. When I managed sales teams, I found that much of their time was spent searching for the next person to call, and that they often struggled to find the key players at their accounts. Along came LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and searching for new prospects and new clients changed forever. Now, all a rep has to do is describe one time for LinkedIn the type of person that she typically looks for. Say, for example, marketing professionals at VP level and above at pharmaceutical companies. From then on, for any account that she looks at, LinkedIn will automatically run this search, identify the key people, and put them in front of the rep. We call this lead recommendations, and in the Sales Navigator screenshot that you see here, LinkedIn is recommending the top people at the account who meet the rep search criteria, and she can then click on any one of them to learn more. By identifying the key players at the account on LinkedIn, we make it possible for the rep to find those 5.4 players that we need to reach out to in order to be able to close a deal. Our next weapon when it comes to hunting is the power of team introductions. I like to describe this to my reps as the death of the rolodex. For most of the history of sales, a rep's success was largely defined by his rolodex. How many personal connections, how many business cards could he call on to start a deal? But now, with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, even the most junior rep at the company can read the Rolodex of all of his peers. When a rep looks at an account in Sales Navigator, he can see every potential relationship that exists between his company and that account, and ultimately turn these company connections into warm introductions by reaching out to the other person at the company to ask them to put them in touch. I like to think of this as coming into the office in the morning to find a line of your coworkers waiting at your desk, each offering to put you in touch with somebody they know at your accounts. This is completely game-breaking for a sales rep, and it was not possible before LinkedIn. We'll talk more about how to get the most out of these relationships in a few minutes. In addition to actively hunting for key prospects into their accounts, we also teach our reps the power of what I call passive hunting. This is the art of listening for social triggers on LinkedIn and across the web that can turn into ideal selling moments. Each morning when my reps get in, they pull up their Sales Navigator feed, which you can see here, which provides real-time insights and updates about the people and companies they are trying to sell to. These insights include new team connections into the account, company news updates, and shares or posts by a key prospect. These insights are golden selling moments since they represent a context and an opportunity to reach out to a prospect. The second strategy that we teach to our reps is how to sell through the relationships they find on LinkedIn, and to do it at speed. We found that the key to getting the most return from the time spent on selling through relationships is all about engaging the person who will be introducing you. Remember, we are asking a colleague for a favor, so our success relies on our ability to get them to play ball. This is even more important when we don't know this colleague personally. We teach our reps two simple ideas to accomplish this. First, these team connections are silver bullets. So, while they are an incredibly powerful way to get into an account, a rep needs to be thoughtful about when they fire these bullets. So, for example, a rep should be mindful about asking her CEO to put her in touch with a junior level contact. Second, the rep should make the process as easy as possible on the team connection, including offering to ghostwrite the email that they will then send to their own connection. As I mentioned earlier, there are going to be times that requesting an introduction just won't make sense, or will require too much legwork, or maybe even the team connection doesn't feel comfortable introducing in this way. In these situations, we teach our reps a powerful alternative that we call the name drop. With this tactic, rather than ask for an introduction, our reps reach out directly to the contact and simply drop the name of the person they know in common. This might sound like, "Hi John, I see that you are connected to Dominic Archibald. Do you know each other?" And then reference Dominic in the subject line. It's amazing how effective a name drop can be, and it takes a fraction of the effort of a full introduction. If there's one secret play that we've learned at LinkedIn that is a true game changer, it's this one. This is a go-to for our LinkedIn reps, and I hope many of you will find success with this tactic. This brings us to our fourth and final strategy that we teach to our LinkedIn reps. The fact is that we're not always going to find a magic bullet relationship to sell through. Instead of falling back on a cold call, I believe that we can turn most cold outreach into a warm interaction even without an introduction. The approach that we teach to do this is based on the science of neurolinguistics, the study of how the brain processes language. One of the findings of this discipline is that the brain interprets information best when it connects emotionally with an idea before grappling with a logical argument. This intuitively makes sense to all salespeople. We call it establishing rapport. However, I find that even the strongest sales reps who do this naturally on the phone forget all about rapport when it comes to email. Rapport goes out the window, and they go straight for emails that say, "Look at our great product." The simple and powerful method that we teach is to start by reading the prospect's LinkedIn profile. We then send a first message, the right side touch, that leads with a personal fact gleaned from the profile. This could be about a personal interest or passion, a school reference, or a comment about a recent article or post. This first personal connection is the key, even if we don't receive a response from the prospect to this right side touch. We then send a second left side logic-based message that shows how our solution can meet a business need. This 1-2 punch of right side, left side emails generates by far the highest response rate. That brings us to the conclusion of our presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed learning a few of the strategies that our own LinkedIn reps use every day to find success with social selling. If you are interested in learning more, please visit us at sales.linkedin.com. Best of luck to all of you in 2015.